We just received Cleanspark's mining update for the month of December, and I think this is a big update. They go over their Sandersville expansion, and we're also going to look at Bitcoin on the chart, and I'll show you what I'm seeing for Cleanspark. Now, today's been a pretty interesting day. The day started extremely red, but a lot of the Bitcoin miners have recovered since this morning. But let's get started on this video. If you guys like this, make sure you like, subscribe, ring the notification bell. And first off, let's look at Bitcoin. And Bitcoin over our 3-day weekend did break out to new 52-week highs. However, we did find resistance on this yellow line, this ascending resistance level. I do think on our next breakout, we're going to get really close to testing that $48,000. Now, keep an eye on this tightening pattern here. The market still may react to it. And also keep an eye on this ascending channel here. I do think if we break our support, it's possible we see the high 30s, potentially bounce off our previous resistance at 38,500. But honestly, I don't see Bitcoin dropping a lot. Some people are calling for 30,000. And while yes, 30,000 I guess is still possible, I find it extremely unlikely that we're ever going to see the 20,000s again. Extremely unlikely that we're ever going to see 15,000 bottom again. And that's the crazy thing about Bitcoin. Every cycle we get new all-time highs, and at the bottom of the bear market, we never create new lows when looking at the previous cycle. And just look at back in December 2018, which was that halving cycle's low. We got all the way down to 3,000. There was probably people saying that it's going to go down to 1,500, going to go down into the hundreds again. And no, within 2 years, Bitcoin went to create new all-time highs. I do believe we're on our way to create new all-time highs again for Bitcoin within 1 year. And I'll put a prediction out there that I think Bitcoin will get to $80,000 by this August. I think that's very reasonable. And when looking at previous halving cycles, I do think 80,000 is easily attainable. And the best part is, that's just the end of 2024. What about 2025? I do think Bitcoin will see 6 figures, and throughout 2025 we will be in the 6 figures for quite a while. I'm not sure where we'll top out at, maybe 200,000, 300,000, I think that's a little far-fetched, but anything is possible. One thing you have to realize though, as Bitcoin grows, its market cap grows, these movements to the upside will be smaller, and these bear market drawdowns will be less severe. Bitcoin will stabilize to some extent. And you know, looking at the last cycle from the bottom to the top, from down to around 3,000 all the way to nearly 70,000, that's a 2,000% gain. And for Bitcoin to do a 2,000% gain in this cycle, it would bring it from about 15,000 to about 300,000. I do think Bitcoin doing a 2,000% gain, just like last cycle, is a little unlikely. But doing around a 1,000% gain, a 10x from the bottom at 15,000, I think is very reachable. And Bitcoin could be somewhere between $150,000 to $170,000 at the peak of the market. I think that's a very reasonable, conservative prediction. But let me know where you think Bitcoin will top out at. I think 6 figures will be reached, and I think $150,000 to $170,000 Bitcoin is a very likely scenario by the peak of the bull run in 2025. But next up, before I get too far into this, let's look at Cleanspark's mining update. This mining update wraps up the year, and in 2023 they mined 7,391 Bitcoin, which is a 60% increase over 2022. Their Bitcoin holdings have grown over 1,200% to now 3,000 Bitcoin, valued at approximately $135 million. And in December, they mined a record 720 Bitcoin. Now, they did sell some Bitcoin. They sold 239 Bitcoin in December. They sold this at an average of 42,700 per Bitcoin, and it got them around $12.5 million for that. Their December daily Bitcoin mined averaged 23.2, and they reached a high of nearly 30 Bitcoin in a day, 29.8 Bitcoin in one day. I do like seeing that they're focusing more on holding. It seems like they're selling less and less of their Bitcoin as the months progress, and I think that is the way to go right now. So I'm very happy to see that. Another fantastic thing here is we have the Sandersville update. Construction has been completed on all 10 building structures for the 150 megawatt expansion. All Antminer XPs have been received and are in the company's custody in Georgia. And in addition to the expansion, the company's begun testing firmware upgrades on the newest Antminer S21s, and all of the machines necessary for this expansion have already been delivered and are expected to be installed over the coming weeks as the company prepares for energization in February. So we have one more mining update to get through before we see this increased exahash, and this should get them to 16 exahash per second. This is going to give them a huge increase in Bitcoin production, and while a lot of you still expected the 16 exahash by year end, they did give an update a few months ago saying that the energy providers are going to delay this, but it's only being delayed by a few months and they will get to that 16 exahash. I think that's extremely exciting. This is a great time for them to increase their production, continue to add to their HODL balance, and reap the benefits of Bitcoin's coming bull market throughout the halving in 2024 and going into 2025. Let me know what you guys think about the mining update. I'm extremely happy with it. I'm happy with how much Bitcoin they sold. I'm happy that we got an update on Sandersville, and they're on track to get that exahash growth in February. Now, looking at Cleanspark, we did get all the way down to the 9s today, and so far as of this upload, it's been recovering, and currently it's basically flat, right around a 0% day. To me, that shows that there are a lot of buyers stepping in on days like this when we see pullbacks. And while we did break our trend, a clear reaction to this topping, we're pulling back now. I'm unsure if the buyers will let this get to that gap fill in the 7s. We get a day like this where we pull back, it all was taken back. The buyers stepped in and bought it all back up. And a lot of Bitcoin miners are showing the same kind of pattern. We're getting these topping signals, we're breaking these huge uptrends we were on, and the market is clearly reacting to that. The question is, how far down do we go? For me, in my opinion, Cleanspark, the most pain we'll have is getting down to this gap fill. I find it unlikely that we come down even more. I think the 5s will never be seen again. And soon we'll be looking back saying the 10s will never be seen again. In the end, I think it's a good thing to be a buyer here. And these pullbacks will continue to be buying opportunities over the next year and a half. And I also wanted to bring up Iris Energy. It has seen a pretty dramatic pullback over the last couple days. I'm looking for a pullback down to $5.50. I do think there will be a reaction to this support. It has been broken before, but after that breakdown, it did try to maintain it as a support again. I think there will be a reaction if we get down there, and I do think the 550 area would be a great time to add Iris Energy. And heck, even now, we've seen a pretty nice pullback. We've seen roughly a 35% drawdown from the top, and I think in the grand scheme of things, it won't matter much whether you bought at 550 or 650. In the end, I believe Iris Energy is going much higher, and this may be our last golden cross in the market. If we don't draw down dramatically, this golden cross will remain. It won't flip to a death cross, and we may be looking at the very last golden cross, kicking off the continuation of this bull market. But I think now's a great time to pick up some of the miners. Many have dropped 20-30% from their tops, and while some of them we might see them draw down a little more, I do think these dips are great buying opportunities, as I've been saying, and these drops are nothing more than a discount to buy some of your favorite miners. But let me know what you guys think about Cleanspark's mining update. How are you feeling about Bitcoin? What miners are you picking up today? In the early morning, it was definitely a good chance to get a good discount on these miners. And we will see times like this, when we get flying high, everyone's all super bullish, super euphoric, and then we see a pullback like this, suddenly everyone gets a little fearful. You got to just keep that tunnel vision, know what's coming, and while everyone's rushing towards something, you get ready to run away, and when everyone's running away from something, you get ready to run towards it. Take advantage of the emotions of the market. There will be times where we become very overbought and it's time to cool down. And there will be times where we become very oversold and it's time to bounce again. But overall, I expect a lot of these miners to do extremely well. 2024 and 2025 will be great years for Bitcoin, crypto, and Bitcoin miners. Let me know if you agree or disagree down below. Thanks as always, guys, and I'll see you next time.